There's just so much advancement and so much good plant science that we just don't need those ingredients. And Kerrilynn and I both love the fact that it's kind of like how we eat. The more kind of high potency, high nutrient ingredients we put on our skin, the better.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsay Simsick.
Tune in for a new episode every Tuesday to hear our honest conversations about topics like wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and self-development with guests who are really smart, really inspirational,
and really fucking funny. It's real, it's raw, and it's unfiltered.
Inspired by our transition from our 20s to our 30s, we realized it's so much more than that. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to help you navigate any transitions in your life and propel your personal growth.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Linz. Welcome to the podcast. It was so funny. A few weeks ago, we spoke at Blogettes in Arizona and we spoke about podcasting 101 and we let the crowd listen to our old intro. Do you remember that? It was a guy, don't know where he's from. Actually want to meet him one day, but it was to the tune of like Missy Elliott. He's like, we're Krista and Lindsay, the Almost 30 podcast, talking about blah, blah, blah. I actually don't even remember what he said, but damn, was he charismatic. I'm just trying to be like him. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for subscribing, rating, and reviewing. You guys mean the world to us. If you haven't done that yet, yes, I'm going to ask you to. It really does help us out. So definitely subscribe so that the new episodes are in your box every Tuesday. And if you love the podcast or you want to tell us something, review on iTunes. And if you really love it, recommend it to your friends. That's how we've grown. Honestly, word of mouth is everything. So thank you. Thank you. All right, let's hop right into it, because I have no one else to talk to. So it's a little awkward. Do you agree? Okay, so we have on this week the founders of Cap Beauty, Kerrilynn Pamer and Cindy DiPrima. They are best friends who started this business not too long ago, 2015. They opened up a brick and mortar shop in New York. But Cap Beauty is really, really special. At Cap Beauty, they believe that beauty is wellness, wellness is beauty, and we exist to share the products, practices, and knowledge that create true radiance. And they believe that the power of plants are at work to create that radiance, to create that change, both inside your body and out. All of their products are like high vibration. You know, they are living, they're breathing things that really enhance your life in more ways than just aesthetically. You know, we really want to empower our listeners to make the right choices when it comes to products and practices. And we know you will love this episode. They shoot us straight on a lot of what's going on in the beauty industry. They're so kind, you know, but they are really focused on their mission. And we go into their story about starting this really successful business and their daily rituals, which we always love to hear about, the ways in which they've healed themselves personally with products like those carried at Cap Beauty. Yeah, I adore these women. They're like soft angel badasses, you know, because they're just so grounded and kind and they really listen and they're very present, you know, for as busy and as big as they're getting. They really were. And it was just such a pleasure to talk to them. So if you're in New York, definitely stop by Cap Beauty. And yeah, so listen to this episode. Let us know what you think. You can also visit capbeauty.com and peruse the website. I'm currently on there and I'm looking under the body and bath. Need a bath bomb. Anybody else? Okay. I love you guys. Krista loves you too. And we are so excited to connect with you more. So stay tuned for in-person events, for future podcasts that we're super pumped about, for products. If you haven't checked out our merch on our website, almost30podcast.com, check it out. All right, guys, enjoy this episode. This episode is brought to you by
Hum Nutrition. Chloe and I love Hum Nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
Don't we? What's your favorite product?
The red carpet, hands down.
Dude, it makes a difference.
Like my face is...
It's crazy.
My face is like a face that I would want to show off to everyone.
It's like a face that you want to be your face.
Yeah. You're like, I'm okay with me.
I want this face to face the world.
Yeah.
I literally...
But seriously, like red carpet is...
Like, I would leave my house with this face.
Yeah, I would be okay with like not wearing makeup and leaving my house with this face.
So Hum Nutrition has the best products. It's all premium quality, recommended by nutritionists, gluten-free, GMO-free, clinically proven, pure and potent. They can also return it if you don't love it. It's natural. There is absolutely nothing that's not perfect and amazing about Hum Nutrition. The packaging is on point. Every product works. We love, love, love them. So go to humnutrition.com, check out all their products, check out the red carpet. I use it too. It really helps your skin feel plump.
Your skin, your nails, your
hair.
Your hair.
You get a boyfriend if you take it.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes with a boyfriend. It's buy one, get a boyfriend.
Secretly on the low, it's called No Longer Single by Hum. So humnutrition.com. Use the code almost30nation, ALMOST 30, the numbers, and then nation for 15% off. And join the secret Facebook group.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Your new boyfriend
and your face that you
and
are proud of.
Your beautiful face. We want to see it.
Enjoy, guys.
We've been looking forward to talking with you. Our community just loves what you're doing, especially our babes in New York have been to your store, so we've been chatting about it. And we're just really in awe of how you've created, it's more than just a store. It's like a movement. It's a part of this movement that's happening right now. So really inspiring. We'd love to hear about, we know you guys are friends of over 20 years, and Krista and I are friends in business as well. So we're always so curious to know, kind of what your story is, what has been so rewarding and really challenging about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, we feel so lucky that we get to work together and be on this kind of wild ride together. We were speaking to someone this morning, and this is Kerrilynn. I had a business partner in the past, and that did not end in a way that was great, for lots of reasons. Like I hadn't set up the structure for it to end, and it was kind of a more immature relationship. So I had always had this kind of thing that I would not joke, where I would say I would never have a business partner. And Cindy just didn't accept that for an answer.
She's like, we're different.
And I always just thought like, it would be fun to have a business with Kerrilynn. But and then she had this idea for the natural beauty store. And it was like, that is genius. And I didn't really let her forget it or drop it. And I basically persisted.
Yes. Quiet and willful.
I'm pretty willful. I usually get what I want.
So it was great because I don't think it was like I woke up one day, but it almost happened that way, where it's like I woke up and was like, oh, the scale that I want to do this at and the kind of scope I want and impact this business to have, I didn't want to do on my own. And to be really honest, I didn't think I could do on my own. And Cindy was just the perfect, most logical partner for that to happen. I've always respected her style and her work ethic and just her as a person and a human so much that it made a lot of sense. And our interests are so similar, and they've grown so much together that it's amazing to like have a best friend to do this with, because you guys know it's all consuming and it never stops. And to not have somebody, there's only so much you can tell your husband and friend.
Totally.
It's really nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off of and to agree with, and like to get to the bottom of like, why do we disagree about this? That's interesting. And
Yeah. I think we think all the time about it because it does work so well. And as Kerrilynn said, she's been in a business partnership that didn't work that well. And so we don't take it for granted. But I really think it boils down to we have a very strong shared ethic, and we have a very strong shared sense of what we want for the business and what we want out of the business. And I think if we weren't aligned in those things, it wouldn't be the same story.
Yeah. And it's very, I think that this is a word that's used a lot these days. It's become quite ubiquitous, but we are really mission driven in a way that is not just lip service. Like what we're doing really means the world to us. It's transformed us as people. We've seen it transform others. So for us, it really is about getting up each day and figuring out how to share that with as many as possible.
And that guides all of the decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were more free floating, each decision that came up would actually be something we'd have to figure out and discuss. But when there's such a strong mission, you know what the answer is.
Yeah, we have a North Star that we constantly touch back to. And when we deviate off course and we're confused about something, it's like, oh, what's that North Star? How does it relate here? And I think that like, not to be doling out business advice to people, but that is like something
that's what we're here for, girl. That's why you're being interviewed. I hate to break it to
you. You are the expert.
Is just guides every decision. And it makes them really, really easy and clear.
Yeah.
Was that vision evolving, or was that something you guys had immediately and you guys have stayed?
We literally created a manifesto like in our very early days of CAP, and it was one of the easiest things we ever did. I think we were at like Le Pen Quotidien, and we just like sat down and like wrote it out on a sheet of paper or a napkin or something. And it was very effortless. It was just like we write together, we co-write, like we literally kind of are in each other's heads, and we just wrote it out. And I think there's maybe 8 points on it, 7 points. And it was just seamless, and we've never modified it.
No.
Is that true?
No,
we've never even touched
modified it. It still is. It's sort of our internal. Not to be confused with a manifesto that we recently is part of our book. That's kind of like a manifesto of this lifestyle. But the actual first manifesto that we wrote, which was our business manifesto, is, it has points on it like everyone should leave Cap Beauty feeling better than when they walked in. And that it's everyone. It's not, it's not just customers. It's not just people who come for expensive treatments. It's literally anyone who delivers our mail, anything. And if we can serve that way, we'll have loyalty.
Yeah.
And you guys then get it tattooed on your backs, right? You have to have the manifesto tattooed on your body. I think that's the rule.
Natural ink.
Do it.
Yes.
Naturally.
You're like, it's white ink. It's on my wrist. Very tiny.
It is constantly in our mind, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really helpful.
How do you create that sense of community in your business among your employees in your stores and corporate? That must be difficult as you grow, for the brand to be consistent across the board, staying close to that manifesto, that mission. How do you do that?
Well, to be honest, I think it starts with the hire we choose to bring into the mix. As we grow, it is, I think, going to be something that we have to work harder at. We haven't had to work that hard at it because most of the people we've attracted are sort of here because of the mission.
Although some of them aren't, and they've had their own like journeys, and that is really exciting to see.
Exciting.
Like we've had some who, came onto the company because they liked the brand or the position was something that aligned with what they did, or, whatever their reasons were, but they weren't necessarily fully driven by our mission. Not that they were anti, it hadn't gotten to them yet. And then I think the more you work around, cult leaders.
And then they realized that their jobs were dependent on it and they changed their minds.
And some people, like, there's so many varying degrees, right, of health and wellness. And some people are at one stage and others are at another. So it's like a really, really broad spectrum. And we don't expect at all, ourselves included, we're never going to know everything. So it's just like a jumping in point and exposure. And, we believe that like this kind of lifestyle makes people feel better. And so once they start dipping their toes in it, more often than not, they just keep going. It's pretty rare for them to stop or be like, I don't like this. Maybe they do. Maybe they quit then. I don't know. But like we have a really strong core group of people that are all at different places in their kind of journey, like I said. But they all seem like they're interested. It's not just random that they work here.
Right.
And what was the dipping in the toes for you guys? Like, what was because you guys have been doing this for a long time, relatively speaking to my awareness of clean beauty. I've actually just sort of been familiarizing myself with this space. So what was your sort of first experiences with it and that made you really become passionate about it?
I think it's an interesting question because both Kerrilynn, this is Cindy speaking, but both Kerrilynn and I would probably classify as more as wellness people or maybe skincare and wellness people than classically as beauty people. We both have had a long interest in alternative health and wellness practices and self-help practices. And I think that avenue has been probably a more active path for us than straight up beauty and then converting our beauty products to natural beauty. We both got into it through for health reasons, I would say. Kerrilynn was diagnosed with celiac for a couple of years before we had this idea and launch. And she had another business, another store, more fashion and accessories. But she did start a small selection of natural beauty in that store and sort of fell in love with it as a retailer, fell in love with it that way, but also as a personal consumer of it. Mm-hmm. Around the same time, I was coming from sort of a lifelong interest in health and wellness, but also starting a family. And I think being much more conscious. We both put ourselves in a category that we recognized early on. And we were people that probably prioritized health and wellness in our food and in our fitness more than in our beauty. And that was something that we recognized as just a bigger trend. Like so many women we knew were buying organic groceries, going to yoga, starting meditation practices, but then would go to the bathroom and use these products that weren't in alignment with that at all. And it made sense to us that if they were given the right options and opportunities to convert that, they would. And that's exactly what
I think that Cindy was more interested in like the health and wellness part. And I was like almost more interested in like the self-help because I physically felt so terrible all the time from having celiac that I actually didn't recognize, I wasn't deep enough in to notice how much food impacted me. So I was like a person who was just like into food, but not in the way that I am now. It was like more about like artisanal food and, that kind of thing. So I had never really felt those effects. And then when I did feel that effect, I did a cleanse. Cindy had introduced me to Chris Carr. I think that was like 6 or 7 years ago.
I actually don't know
like
Chris Carr.
Huge meat eater.
Did you say who is Chris Carr?
Yeah, I actually don't know who's Chris Carr.
She's amazing.
You guys should know her. She's great.
She had, I believe, she first made a movie, possibly called Crazy Sexy Cancer, and then she did a book called Crazy Sexy Diet.
Yeah.
I don't know that you'd call her a cancer survivor. I don't totally understand the cancer component, but she was diagnosed with like stage 4 of some very rare form of cancer and was given options to have kind of some radical surgeries and whatnot, and has worked closely with like Harvard MDs. And she has a team of doctors, but also found a lot of alternative methods of healing, including going plant-based and juicing and doing a lot of the things that Kerrilynn and I are both into. And also like emotional healing and that kind of stuff. And she was, I think like Oprah was a big supporter of hers, and but her book is really brilliant and it's similar in a way to our philosophy. It's stylistically very different, but similar to our philosophy in that it's not just one avenue. You have to kind of incorporate the rituals, the food, the products, everything comes together. But when she put her book out, Crazy Sexy Diet, I think the book is called, one of the suggestions in the book was doing like a 21-day experimentation with veganism. And Kerrilynn and I did it together. Yeah. And Cindy was already...
How long ago was this? How many years ago was this?
I don't know. I want to say like 7. But I think like 6 or 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was like...
Kerrilynn was like a big meat eater.
Like a huge meat eater. Like I knew I was friends with the guys at Autumn and Nelly. And for me, it was very a way to mark celebrations and also just like day-to-day life. And I drank and I ate. And then I did this thing And it just like cracked me open.
Yeah.
Like
Kerrilynn's also, I don't know anyone who loves and connects to animals more than Kerrilynn. And so I think it also, one of the things about eating that way is the peacefulness of it. And it affects you whether or not you expect it to or not.
Yeah.
You just like ahimsa is real.
Yeah.
Like when you eat in a way that doesn't inflict harm on people, and when you stop ingesting the emotional terror of whatever you're eating, it really affects you. And I think, you don't even have to subscribe to it to feel its effects.
Yeah. I had a big disconnect there that I wasn't aware of until I did that 21-day cleanse. And it really, like I said, like kind of cracked me open. I was like, oh, wow, this is, I've been doing something that I don't actually subconsciously agree with. And I'm not saying that for anyone else. This is my choice and how I feel. But it really kind of aligned to those things and was like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And my friends were like, because they knew me as like, if you were going to my house, you were having like a really amazing steak or, like a thing from the butcher.
Right.
They just thought it was a trend, and it's, it hasn't been a trend. It's like, it really has changed me. And then we've just gone deeper and deeper into all the practices,
Yes. So it was, obviously we were both really into food and cooking and feeding our families and feeding ourselves. And so when we launched CAP, we did start with some food products and ingestibles, and that's grown so much since we started. And we really just honestly responded to what people wanted. And it was something we introduced because we really believed in it and felt strongly about it and wanted to include it. But it has grown because everybody else wants it too.
Yeah, and they feel the effects.
Yeah.
I know for me. So are you guys vegan now, or are you?
I'm not vegan because I think vegan is a much bigger word that means a lot of things.
I know.
But I don't. Yeah, we don't eat animal products.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same vein. I had that same experience too, where I was vegetarian for a long time, like 10 years. And then I was just like, kind of had a thing. And I was like, like the other products too, for me personally, this is only my experience as well. Not having animal products produces a nonviolence in my spiritual field that I really align with. And that's been something that's been very powerful for me. And that's led me to other ways to connect spiritually or like remove blocks from like receiving spiritually.
Yeah, it opened up a lot. I mean, like I said, Cindy was way more oriented towards eating that way. Like I have barely any recollection of Cindy eating meat. Like I can't even think of a time. But for me, it was like really a transition, and it really did open up a lot of other kind of gateways. And I think of it as really very much a spiritual practice.
Yeah. I think of it as like a freedom practice. Yeah. Like, I'm an adult. I can choose what.
My gosh.
And it feels like, to me, it just there's something exciting and liberating and cool about it.
Yeah. This is silly, but when I was home I was home with my family for Christmas, and I was eating before dinner, and my mom walked in the kitchen, and I was like, and I just kept eating, and she didn't say anything about it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm officially an adult. She didn't tell me to stop eating before dinner. I was like, yo, this is like adulthood. I'm eating whenever I want.
Adorable.
Right? I'm like, no one's telling me when or when I can't eat, damn it.
How was your...
I had the opposite of that at my Christmas.
Yeah.
My mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm eating before dinner.
Yeah. And we are not almost 30.
No, we are.
Oh, stop.
Cindy, you said you brought your family you started with your family, whether it was cooking. Was there other ways in which you incorporated a holistic wellness lifestyle with your family, and how did they respond?
So, it's always evolving, and I always try to also not be so extreme that they want to, you're always analyzing, you don't want to create a situation of rebellion. You don't want to stifle. I also happen to have 2 really small kids. And so I have to be really conscious of not limiting their calories. And, of course, I want them eating fruits and vegetables and more of those. And it's always hard to get those into a child, but will not not one of my children only ever wants fruit. That's all she asks for. It's all she wants, but, which is great. But also I just have to make sure they get diversity. And I think diversity is a word that we can all relate to. And, I think that one of my kids, if I didn't intervene, he would only live on cheese and bread. So I do my best to, I'll make him waffles with buckwheat flour. And then it's not all wheat, it's something else. And I'll make him, I'll give him like nut cheese sometimes on his sandwich, just so it's a different food source. And I think that's really been helpful to think of it that way. And then outside of the food, it's amazing. Maybe it's because I live in New York City and I'm sure it's the same in LA, but like my kids are schooled in all the yoga poses. They just know them. I think they get them in school. They get them through friends and what they learn out and about. But they have a good understanding of a lot of the practices that as adults we kind of look to. Like my daughter understands the concept of deep breathing when she needs to calm down. She's 6.
Yeah.
And I didn't teach her that.
Wait, what? That's crazy. I love that. We just had a breathwork event, and the whole idea behind it was bringing together kind of like different age groups to like just for them to have that as a tool as early as possible, I think is incredible.
It's amazing. It's really cool. And then, they understand it's important to move, and they understand that quiet time and all of that kind of stuff. I think someone
kids are so much more advanced now. It feels like it's just integrated into the fabric of kind of who they are. And I don't know if I'm speaking for just children that I know, but I do feel like they're just becoming more evolved and more evolved and more evolved. Hopefully, as we all become more evolved and consciously choose them to come into the planet. But I think they're, compared to when we were kids, it's like light
and
years.
They pick up a lot through just osmosis and living around me. And someone I spoke to, this great guy named Mike Perrine, who is he's a colon hydrotherapist, and he was a chef at Angelica's Kitchen, and he's been deep in the health world for a long time and has an adult son. And I asked him sort of how he went about raising his son. And he said, I never lectured to him, but I always let him overhear me. Like when he was speaking about things of health. And, he said he just got a Vitamix. That doesn't mean he doesn't also go out and like eat nachos sometimes, but he's aware. He's like a kid with a much probably deeper knowledge of health, and it's available to him and he knows where to find it.
Yeah. My niece, when we were just there for Christmas that I was just talking about, she thinks the way I eat is like absurd. She's actually a vegetarian and very much identifies with being a vegetarian. I don't talk about my diet with her. Like it's really rare actually that Cindy and I both don't really talk about our diet, even though we are right now. And she just texted me the other day. We were over there like in Oregon for the holidays, and I made kind of a Caesar salad, like a vegan Caesar salad dressing. And I didn't talk about what was in it. It was just like, here's our Caesar salad, because that's something we always eat at dinner. And she just texted me and asked me for the recipe. And it made me so happy because it wasn't pushed at her. Like she would absolutely have been like, I don't eat that.
Right.
But then she liked it. And I think that there's such an elegant way of just introducing people without, you put something down somebody's throat, like nobody's going to retain that. They might take it for like a day or two, but osmosis is really powerful.
Yeah.
And also we all like to eavesdrop. So if you get to overhear somebody talking about something, it's kind of interesting to incorporate that into your day-to-day without feeling like you have to inquire and then be held accountable if you don't do it. It's just like you get to dip your toes in the water.
Right.
On your own.
I think there's power in like arriving there yourself, especially when you're young, because then you don't look back and you're like, oh, they made me do it, but I'm here now and I like it. But it's just like it's empowering.
And I think, and I'm also a big believer in not kind of wearing your labels. Like I'm vegan. Yeah. And then you've got the set of standards that you know what, if I woke up tomorrow and I had a compelling reason to eat an egg and it was important to me and I craved it, I probably would. Yeah. But I'm also probably not going to wake up tomorrow and want that. But it's not, I believe in sort of, as much as I believe in diving deep and in being committed to something and in like owning it, I also think it's a slippery slope when you talk to people who are like, I'm mostly vegan. If they really analyze their day, they're really not. Yeah. But
when you lose the rigidity, there's more power to it.
Yeah. And then it doesn't become this thing where people are holding themselves up to a standard or,
You got to just do what works for you too. So whatever aligns with you. I think it was interesting too, when you ladies were just talking about, the story with the kale salad and kind of just, I'm going to make this appetizing, delicious salad and I'm going to put it in a great way. And you didn't force it on anyone. You didn't tell anyone about it. And that sort of reminds me of what you're doing at Cat Beauty. So you're making this beautiful store that's aesthetically pleasing, that is gorgeous, that is like aligned to all the values that we have right now, but then also too, it's good for you. And it's, you know what I mean?
Our friends over at Sakara, we think they do it really beautifully.
Oh, Whitney and Danielle, love them.
So
they have a beautiful, obviously, like brand. And I have a friend who's like kind of an anti-vegan person. She like would never order a delivery service that was vegan. And she orders Sakara, and it took her like 2 or 3 times to actually recognize that there wasn't any meat in Sakara. And we did that in our book as well. Like we have a manifesto in our book and it does talk about the power of plants, but there's nowhere in our book, I don't think, that really talks about why you should be a vegan, why you should be plant-based. It's just like suggestions. And then you go through the book and it's like, oh, wow, I've cooked maybe 7 recipes. And then there's nothing in here that's from the butcher. But we don't hit anybody over the head with it. And I think that's way more impactful. And I think that the Sakara girls do that so well because they just created a brand that people want to be a part of. And
100%.
We tried to do that at CAP as well, where it's like, we want people coming to CAP because they're the best products, not because we're just a natural store. That's one part of the story.
Right. And I think especially with naturals, you get this sense that, well, there was this concept that if something is natural, it's the healthy choice, but not necessarily the more effective choice. Yeah. And we would take it to the other end and say, actually, these products are more effective because they're natural.
Exactly.
Because they don't have fillers and synthetics and things that actually rob your beauty and not enhance it.
That are typically there for dollar value and shelf life.
Yeah, they're there to make it easier to sell expensive face cream, not because they're doing you any favors.
Yeah.
In what way have you both been diligent? I don't know if it's one of your pillars, but it seems to me that, you don't try to alienate anyone. And yes, the natural beauty space, the products, a lot of them are expensive, and not everyone can afford them. So in what ways have you made the experience at Cap Beauty, accessible to everyone in a way?
That's something that's very important to both Cindy and myself, and has been since we started the brand.
Yeah.
We know that these kind of products can be off-putting or ostracizing in terms of price point. We try our very best to have a really broad range of products in the store that can accommodate different pocketbooks. That being said, some items are just more expensive and they might not be for a certain person at a certain point in life.
Yeah.
There's products in the store that I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
But, we have $4 lip balms, then we have $250 face serums.
Yeah.
So there's a really broad spectrum.
And we have $25 face serums.
Exactly. So we really pride ourselves on that. And then the other kind of component of that I think we take very seriously as well is our education component is really big to us. And that is, we have probably events in the store once a week in New York and kind of that in LA. We're starting to round out our calendar there, and they're always free.
And they're amazing people, like the best TM teachers in the world, the best nutritionists. People are always happy to come and talk at CAP, and
anyone can come.
And anyone can come. Well, anyone in New York can come. But if you can get to the store, you can come.
Yeah.
And then similarly, we try to have a lot of that kind of content on our blog, and that way we can involve people in the lifestyle without, regardless of their spending ability.
And there are so many practices that are expensive and there are so many practices that are free.
Yeah.
And we try to highlight both, I think.
Yeah.
Like, meditations are free for everyone.
Yep.
Do people have time? That's a different conversation. But like 2 minutes, I think everybody probably has 2 minutes.
Definitely.
If we're real with ourselves. So that's a really big part of it. But we're fully aware of, we're never going to compete with drugstore brands in terms of price. It's just not going to happen. Just like Erewhon's not going to compete with, Fine Fair or whatever. It's like, it's just not going to happen. So there is a difference, but we try very hard to be conscious of that and then also do the offerings of the education.
Yeah. And then the converse of that too is that there's women who wouldn't buy natural beauty if they couldn't get something that was $200. There's women who just simply wouldn't trust these products if they weren't super refined and super high end, frankly. And so, and men too. And so not saying that our whole mission is just to serve those people, but in order for us to fulfill our mission, which is to get more people using more healthy products, we actually have to cover the range.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're in an expensive neighborhood in New York City, and
that helps.
Yeah. The $20 face creams aren't flying off the shelves like the $200 face creams are.
Damn,
and that's just the reality, and that has to do with us just buying based on what our customers want.
Yeah.
And so we would never not have the $20 items on the shelves, but we also have to be realistic about what our customers want.
I want to know there's like studies around that where, people perceive more value when something is more money. Not that I'm saying that those products are not absolutely worth, what they are, but there's just such an interesting thing with perceived value.
Well, the psychology of perceived value is fascinating.
For sure.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Beachbody On Demand. Okay, you guys know Kristen and I are loving the convenience, the attention to detail. We are loving the workouts. We are loving the full experience of Beachbody On Demand. To be honest, we don't always have time to make it to our group fitness classes or make it to the gym. So Beachbody On Demand is a great alternative. It is an online fitness streaming service that gives you unlimited access to a wide variety of highly effective world-class workouts, personalized to meet your needs. They also have extensive nutritional content, which is super cool because, abs are made in the kitchen, y'all. It's the total package. So, I'd love to share with you that I successfully did P90X 4 times this week, which you might think is overkill, but for me, it brought me back to my high school, middle school days when I was doing P90X in my gym class. Back then, wasn't doing it right. Didn't really give a shit. But now I'm realizing, oh my God, I would have been buff and tough in high school if I would have actually done it. But I love P90X. I also love the 3-week yoga retreat. I'm trying to really balance my workouts now. So I'm not doing the HIIT all the time. I'm balancing with yoga and stretching and meditation. It is accessible on your computer, web-enabled TV, tablet, smartphone, or any other web-enabled device. And you could do it on the go, and you could do it when you travel, which is so great. I'm going to Morocco at the end of March, and I'm going to be doing my Beachbody On Demand there. There are over 600 different workouts. You can sort by type of workout or your favorite trainer. Just love it. So you can give this service a try. Right now, our listeners can get a free trial membership when you text almost 30 ALMOST30, all one word, no spaces, to 303030. You get full access to this entire platform for free. All the workouts and nutrition information free. So you just have to text almost 30 ALMOST30, all one word, no spaces, to 303030. 303030. All right, guys, enjoy. This episode is also brought to you by BioClarity. Y'all, okay, I'm going to shout this from the rooftops. No joke. Never have I ever, let's play that game. Never have I ever been complimented for my skin up until recently. I get it in the DMs. I get it in person. People are complimenting me on my skin and wondering what I'm doing. I do know that it is a combination of things, but since starting BioClarity, my skin is consistently clear. It is not red and dry and flaky. It's not sensitive to what I put on it. It's crazy. I'm so thankful because when your skin is good, like when you're feeling like, oh, my skin looks great, don't even have to wear makeup. I mean, it's a game changer. I feel so confident in that way. So I'm just so grateful that I found BioClarity. And side note, my brother asked if I could order him some BioClarity because he really likes it and it's worked for him. He's a dude. So that's cool. All right. So BioClarity, there's no harsh chemicals. It is packed with clarifying botanicals and new Floralux that won't irritate your skin. The Floralux is an ingredient derived from chlorophyll. Yes, that's the green stuff in plants. So it's clean and green and never mean to your skin. There are 3 steps to the BioClarity treatment system. The cleanse, which is rich foaming facial cleanser, removes dirt. It's gentle. It removes oil and environmental pollutants, which I need in LA. Second step is the treat, penetrates pores and attacks the bacteria that causes acne to clear up your skin. And the restorative gel leaves your skin feeling smooth and refreshed. Go to bioclarity.com and our listeners will get their first month for only $9.95 plus free shipping. That's a $20 savings, and it comes with a 100% risk-free money-back guarantee when you use the code ALMOST30. That's bioclarity.com and enter code ALMOST30, ALMOST30, to get your first month for only $9.95 plus free shipping. That's $10. It's so worth it. I'm obsessed with it. Please let us know if you got it and if you love it.
Okay, so I kind of want to educate our listeners a little bit on like, what does clean beauty mean? Like, what are some things that they should be looking for? What are some absolute no-nos? What are some easy fixes or things that they could remove from, their beauty or whatever that could be potentially harmful?
So to be honest, we try not to go to this place.
Okay. You don't need to say brands, but like, I just want to make people
I'm not even talking about brands. I'm talking more about like what's bad. We really like try hard to not focus on. Cindy has this really amazing analogy that she said like very early on when we started CAP, where we don't need another study on why cigarettes are bad for us. We know they're bad for us. Let's just move on to the thing that's good for us.
Yeah.
So for us, we really like to focus on what the things are that are good. And we feel like the botanicals and all of the ingredients that are in the products in our range at CAP are really what's benefiting you. There are real, yes, there are certain things that you don't want to be putting on your skin. To us, it's basically, we created a definition that's an internal definition for CAP, and it's 100% synthetic free.
Yeah. So for listeners who don't know CAP Beauty, we're a natural beauty store. We carry a huge range of products and categories. We have almost 200 brands now.
Yeah.
So we're like a Sephora, but everything is natural. And instead of making a list of these are the ingredients that we don't allow, we decided to just go with 100% natural, which means that nothing in our store has any synthetics in it whatsoever. So that to us seemed really clear cut and easy. It's actually not, but it is, we think, an important distinction because there's always the possibility when ingredients are tested, oftentimes they're not tested in conjunction with one another. And so there are a lot of synthetics that might pass a certain kind of test, but you don't know how those react when they're paired with other synthetics. And so there's just so much advancement and so much good plant science that we just don't need those ingredients. And Kerrilynn and I both love the fact that it's kind of like how we eat. The more kind of high potency, high nutrient ingredients we put on our skin, the better.
Yeah.
And so when you take away a lot of the preservatives, one of our vendors and formulators who we really admire was talking about the use of preservatives in products. And she said, I don't want to put anything on my skin that's designed to kill things. And if you
Which
think
is like
of
a classic herbalism tenet. It's like,
it's like raw food. It's like,
exactly.
We eat things that are alive. We eat things with life force. We want to put things on our skin and on our bodies with life force. We want things to vibrate at a much higher level than something that's completely concocted in the lab. And I think if you start thinking about natural beauty that way, it kind of opens the doors for an understanding that takes you a little bit away from just like scanning the ingredient deck for parabens.
Yeah. And when you walk into our store, it's like, it feels really different. And I'm not just saying that because we love it, but it's a constant comment from people who aren't even oriented towards beauty or naturals or anything like that. Like we had these amazing landlords for years, and they were like old school Italian from the West Village, lived here forever, didn't believe in anything we were doing. Thought we were crazy.
Loved us, but didn't.
They were amazing. We loved them. But they would walk in our store and they'd be like, why does it feel this way in here?
Feels so good in here.
We're like, because it's all like these plant botanicals.
Everything's vibrating.
Everything feels really good. And I always say it's like the difference between walking in our space and walking in, a national drugstore. They're basically all quote unquote the same products. There's cleansers, there's moisturizers, there's toners, but they feel very, very different. It's like going to a farmer's market versus going to a conventional grocery store. There's a difference in there. Yeah. And I think you literally feel it on an energetic level. So we try to focus on what are those ingredients that really, really feel good on the skin, create luminosity, create radiance, create vitality. That being said, yeah, there's some stuff out there that like, no, we don't want anybody putting on their skin. Like Cindy said, parabens. Like there's no reason for this to be used in skincare anymore. There's other alternatives that have become better. And then there's more alternatives that have become even better than the previous better. So there's like incarnations that are happening, which we think is like the most exciting thing in this realm, is seeing people develop formulations that we believe are healthier for people to replace these old things that people are recognizing are maybe not the most serving products or ingredients in products.
To that point, so, you know, there's on the positive side, there are people that are developing things that are more clean, but oftentimes pharmaceuticals and drug companies can reformulate things like parabens and change one tiny thing and then call it something else and then put it in. Does that also happens too?
Very little regulation in this industry, almost zero.
To me, a really big tip off is when something says paraben free.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well, what? So you took the parabens out.
Free.
Yeah. So you took the parabens out. But then what else is in there? Like when someone comes to us and says, I have this product you guys should sell, it's paraben free, I almost know right away that it's not natural.
Yeah. See, that's so helpful.
There's also products that might have that written on them that are really non-toxic and good and maybe even 100% natural. But
we also don't believe all synthetics are bad. Like this is a definition we created internally when we started. We now have way more information, but that is our definition that we abide by. And there are some synthetics that we think are fine. We choose not to have them in our products because we don't carry any synthetics. Right. We think most of them are not great, but there are some that are not egregious.
Yeah.
You know,
and for sure, there are people making non-toxic beauty products that are probably in fact non-toxic. I think it's almost like there's almost not enough information out there for us to make a judgment call on a lot of them.
It's a little, it's very confusing, and we do our best internally amongst Cindy and myself and our staff to keep up to date with what's happening. But there's a lot of advances in this category, and you know, we created our standards thinking it was really simple. 100% seems really simple, right? Yeah. But we were super naive. And now it's a very gray, nuanced area that we try to stay on top of.
But we're really proud of that stance. And you know, it's meant we can't carry nail polish, and we can't, there's certain products that we don't have great selection of yet. But we also know that by sticking to this, someday we will.
We really hope that it'll be the thing that will distinguish us, this kind of steadfastness to make a nail polish that's all natural. Yeah. You know, we love getting our nails done. We tell people where to go to get their nails done. We're not anti it, but there's no natural nail polishes.
Right.
So we can't carry them within the four walls of Cap Beauty.
Right. And that's allowed people to come and shop at Cap without confusion. Yeah. They don't have to check and make sure each thing has or doesn't have the ingredient that they're afraid of. They can actually just shop.
Totally. And I think it's a little bit of a conundrum, because we're saying one thing, like be really diligent, go deep, but also don't be rigid in the process. So there's like kind of a fine balance there that I think Cindy and I are always internally trying to find. And we are very, very judgment free. Like Cap is, if somebody comes in and they're using something that's not natural, that's great. Like we're just here to show people what have worked well for us and what have worked well for others, but we are not judging anybody.
Oh no.
Like we said, everybody's on a different path. And everybody's at a different place. Like 2 years ago, our conversation would probably be different in terms of like what our practices are.
What are your opinions on kind of the space itself, the health and wellness space itself? It's obviously becoming, you know, more popular and more people are jumping on the train. How are you staying true to your brand? I think it can get really loud. You know, competitors come in. You know, it's easy to say you put your blinders on, but you know, it's not always the reality that you can do that. Sometimes you kind of have to like see what they're doing and see how you can do it better or whatever it is. Have you found it to be challenging as the space kind of expands and there's more people in it?
You know, I feel like this category is still so young that we kind of regard any noise in the category as promotional.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's true.
A great example is Goop, right? So Gwyneth sells a lot of the same products we do. We're friends with them. When Gwyneth Paltrow talks about natural beauty, it helps Cap Beauty.
Yeah.
Even
if natural beauty.
Even if she's selling some of the same products and we might lose some sales to them, we also gain a lot of sales because she's talking about it. And
her platform is obviously much larger than ours.
Yeah. And so we definitely try to view it through those lenses. It's also sometimes really a good learning experience. Like you see the way someone else is operating and it either gives you ideas for what to do or what not to do. And it's important, I think, at the same time to just stay true to the DNA of your own company. We all do it a little differently. No two brands are the same. And somebody who responds really strongly to one of the other natural beauty stores might feel it's at home at Cap. And there's got to be something for everyone. In terms of the wellness space in general, whatever way it expands that helps people find their practices is great. I mean, most of us, like Kerrilynn said, if you talked to us 2 years ago, the rituals we were talking about, even the diets we're following, might not be the same.
Yeah.
And people naturally are going to cycle through different practices and different focuses, like whether they're focusing on their emotional health or their mental health or their physical bodies. Those are all important pursuits. And so any tools available for people, I think, are important. And then in terms of fake health and wellness, that's just something that we each have to use our intuition and dive in. And what might strike me as suspect might actually be somebody else's saving. Yeah.
There's room for everyone.
Yeah, we feel the same way. Even in podcasting, we're like, okay.
We just are working all the time. We don't.
Yeah, totally.
I think we're literally pretty clueless about. We get that question sometimes, and I don't even honestly know fully what it means.
Yeah,
where it's we're just not to say we're not aware, but I think any way somebody gets into something that benefits them,
absolutely,
is great.
Absolutely.
Does it appeal to me? Maybe not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like that too. Yeah, if I'll get a question like that, people are like, what do you think about, the blogging, whatever? I'm like, I have no idea. I have my head on my ass all day long.
Yeah.
Doing my thing.
We're actually at work creating our business and not always looking over our shoulders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely something to that to keep it uniquely your brand. Cause I think no matter what, if you're looking over your shoulder, you're seeing something that someone else is doing and, it inspires kind of the next thing you're doing.
What Cindy said too is Cap Beauty is not for everyone. And these other stores that are out there, they might be great for somebody. It might be something that they reminds them of their childhood or shopping for beauty. We're all so different that we have a really engaged audience.
Right.
But there's other stores that have engaged audiences too.
And like we said, because of our standard of 100% natural, there's definitely products that we have less representation of.
Yeah.
We have fewer makeup lines than some of our competitors. We have fewer hair products. We don't have nail polish, but we're happy to see somebody getting healthier makeup, even if it's at another store. And that it's good that exists with different standards so that people can find a mascara they like if they don't like the ones that we have. I mean, it's just, there have to be.
We might lose some people, but we'll gain others.
Yeah, absolutely. And they might come to us for skincare and go buy their makeup somewhere else. Yeah. It's just good to have. It's good to have.
It goes back to the diversity.
Yeah. And it's good to be in a category and not just a standalone freak show.
Yeah. That's a lot of pressure to be the only place.
I love that.
We interrupt this episode to bring you a word from our sponsor, Four Sigmatic. It is a mushroom revolution here. Are y'all in it or are you not? Please join us. We are obsessed with Four Sigmatic. I'm sure you've heard us talk about it. You've seen them in Time, Forbes, Well and Good, Bon Appetit. Taro, the founder of Four Sigmatic, was on the podcast. Truly could have talked to him just solely about mushrooms for 10 hours. Four Sigmatic is going beyond the mushrooms that you know. So yeah, I love a portobello on my veggie burger. But they are talking about the real magic of functional mushrooms like reishi, chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane to be specific, as well as other superfoods and adaptogens that they combine in their elixirs. Adaptogens for me are really important, and for us all, so listen up, because they help you adapt to stress. So the body doesn't know the difference between good and bad stress. So I'm exercising a lot because of my job at SoulCycle, but my body does not know the difference between that good and bad stress. So for me, it's good, but my body's like, okay. So I need help adapting to the stress so that my cortisol levels don't go up. The symptoms and everything's connected. So it could throw off your hormones. You could have digestive issues, so on and so forth. So using Four Sigmatic has really changed the game for me. I'm no longer dependent on coffee, which would give me a crash mid-afternoon. The coffee would also give me like this jittery feeling. I had anxiety. So it's been really important to me to kick that habit, one, but also incorporate something that really made me feel good. And it wasn't just a quick fix to wake up. They make it easy to do. So these superfood blends, coffees, and elixirs are in tins or in these little packets that are single serve packets, which are really easy to carry and share. And I love to blend it with a cup of hot water, and I add a little nut milk to it. It just depends on what you want to do. You can add it to your smoothies, shakes, it doesn't matter. So our listeners can go to foursigmatic, foursigmatic.com/almost30, and you'll get 15% off your first order. Products that we love include, but are not limited to, the new matcha blend. It's actually, I think it was sold out the last time I saw it. Oh no, it's back. I'm on the website. It's back. Mushroom matcha with lion's mane. Lion's mane is actually my best friend. If it were a person, it'd be my best friend. Lion's mane helps me focus, but not like a jittery pre-workout focus. Do you know what I mean? I also love the mushroom hot cocoa with reishi. I love doing that before bed. It's super calming. It's chill. It's like chill. It makes you feel real chill. So try a bunch. There's also, a box that you can buy. It's like a sampler. So I'd recommend that. And it's great for gifts too. Okay. So foursigmatic.com/almost30. Please keep us posted on if you're loving these products. We are actually going to talk to some of our listeners about Four Sigmatic in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for those ad spots. We just want to hear from you. Okay, babies, back to this episode.
What are some products that you swear by that, you guys have at CAP that are just like the bomb, like some new stuff that our girls can check out?
Oh God. What are you?
I know there's so many, but some that you're like, damn,
I think
this is
we
crazy.
couldn't possibly answer that question without mentioning the Christina Holy for Marie Veronique line of skincare. Christina is a genius facialist and formulator, and she actually, we've known her for a long time. She designed our treatment protocol for our facials. She's like world studied and amazing and very science driven and very thoughtful. And her whole approach is about maintaining the barrier layer of the skin. So we all have we're all familiar with the whole gut health microbiome conversation, but there's a microbiome on the skin surface as well. And a lot of the more aggressive treatments that people do, like the chemical peels, are really wearing away at that. And it's destroying your immune system. Basically, it's destroying the skin's immune system. And Christina's whole mission is to restore that and to create health at that level. And her products are really beautiful and genius. And honestly, like they come in and they leave the shelf.
They're transformative.
And we can't keep them in stock.
We've seen amazing results with people.
They're beautiful and really, as I said, very thoughtful. And the other thing that's distinct about them is they don't have any essential oils in them. Which, of course, I'm not maligning essential oils, but there are a lot of people who seek out products without essential oils. And
so it's a nice option.
Yeah, it's a great option. What else?
I'm obsessed. So I've been going back and forth now between LA and New York. And the matcha that we sell and the matcha sticks are just like a game changer. I want everybody to have them. There was a guy who came in the store last night and he was going back to Paris today. And I gave him some and some for his wife because it's such a great thing to travel with.
Yeah.
So good.
Our matcha is amazing. It's organic. It's ceremonial grade. It's from Japan. It's really delicious. And we just last year launched them in these individual serving sticks, which I'm
great.
really excited about.
We'll
also
send you guys some.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
we'd love that. Yeah.
They're great for bringing to work or on the plane or any, they're
the
great.
coconut butter is like
Oh,
The
come on.
daily hit.
the daily hit. Have you guys tried the daily hit?
No.
What is it?
It's a CBD oil.
Yeah, it's
ingestible.
coconut oil.
And we designed it because we're such foodies. We designed it as almost more like a food product than a supplement. We wanted people to use it like a food, like put it on your avocado toast, put it in your smoothie, on your soup, however, whatever you're eating, you can just add it to. You can also just take a serving.
Yeah.
But it's delicious. It's really nutty and beautiful. It has some adaptogens in it. And it's just this beautiful product that probably the number one benefit I've heard from our customers is that it really helps with insomnia.
Like we get people who have gone down every road for insomnia, like serious insomniacs have said that this has transformed their life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't suffer from insomnia, thank God, but apparently.
Yeah,
Me
same.
too. I'm like out.
I know.
I know. I can
awesome.
sleep
Feel lucky.
anywhere.
That's awesome. What else?
What else am I loving right now?
I'm upset. I've been upset. It's not a new thing for us, but Jiva Apoa's body oils are like
so beautiful.
so ritualistic and beautiful.
Infiore is a line that I always go back to. Their calm. I have rosacea, and their calm oil is probably the one product that I've tried that really has the ability to calm that. There's also a redness relief serum from Christina Holy and Marie Veronique that's been really helpful for that. But that calm oil to me is just intoxicating. It was one of my first loves when we opened CAP. So I'm always, I actually need to go get some.
Yeah. She also makes a beautiful face cream called Creme de Fleur that I'm obsessed with. Creams are a little harder to come by in the natural beauty space because the formulation. Oils don't need the preservative systems that creams do. And so there are fewer of them. And so when you find a good one, it's like,
there's a couple lines out of Hawaii that I'm really into now. Mahalo and Leilani are just so evocative of like full-blown vacation with all caps. So that has been really, I think Cindy and I both love the idea of that kind of holiday. And they're effective as well, but they also transport you through their scent profiles. Yeah. There's so many good things in there. It's like, it's really hard to, May Lindstrom's Jasmine Garden will forever be in my refrigerator. It's like one of my favorite products. It smells like heaven and it's just gorgeous. There's so many good.
The way you talk about products is like poetic, makes me want to like have my own little night to myself.
I know.
Oh, you should.
It's so important. I mean, I do, and probably more than the average, but I think it's really important. It's really important, I think, as we, if our listeners are starting their own businesses, if they're getting married, if they're having kids, it's like these products are not only just products, but they are a part of a ritual that's
one of my favorite parts about it. Like I come from the fashion world and there was always this, when somebody buys a dress, they don't wear that dress all the time. But with product, you're engaging with it on the daily. And there's so much, I find so much joy and happiness when we pack up bags for people when we're in the store.
It's amazing.
And you recognize that they're going to actually participate with these on the daily. They're a part of their life now. It's not just like a skirt in the closet that you wear once a month. That's beautiful. That's another thing that's beautiful. Yeah. But this is really about that act of consistency, which I think has been one of the biggest game changers for Cindy and myself. Like we get asked a lot about balance and I don't really believe in balance. I don't even understand it, but consistency is something that really, really, really makes sense to us. Like what you do all the time is how you are.
And that's how these products are just designed to work. It's like you can't just pour the whole bottle of toner on your face and expect to have transformed skin. But when you use it every day,
there's a patience and like a real beauty and faith that happens there with skincare, especially like I had a lot of skin challenges growing up. Like I was told by the doctors, like, you just didn't win the skin lottery and this is how it is. And
cool. You're like, thanks.
I know. And it was really common. And then when you recognize that consistency and faith in what you're doing actually impacts you and makes a difference, there's real power in that. Like you get to change something. And that's really, really, I think, fundamentally powerful as a person.
I love that.
And then realizing your skin's alive. It's different every day.
Yeah. That's the truth. What is one for you guys working as best friends? Like, what's like a tip to keep your relationship healthy and working? And
make sure that she comes back from California.
I know. I almost when we met out here, I was like, "Can you stay?"
We don't have a lot of those challenges, to be honest. I mean, I think that like the move to California has probably been the hardest because we're not together all the time, but it's also probably really, I mean, not probably, it is really good for the business. It's good for efficiency. Otherwise, we literally do everything together and that's not that efficient. But when you're working together and you're physically together, there's going to naturally be a lot more just friendship talk and friendship exchange. And the way it is now, we get on the phone with each other. We have like 12 things to go over with each other regarding the business. And we've got to look at photos and we're texting about approving labels for things. And there's not as much time to naturally just know what's going on in each other's lives in terms of like our kids and our husbands and our day-to-day. Like, I don't know what she has for dinner every night. I used to always know.
But I'm not so good at that too. I'll be like, we got to do this.
Right.
You know, like,
and so I think we miss that for sure. And I think that, you know, at the same time, I would imagine for most people that kind of separation could actually be a relief. But I think for us, we miss each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for inspiring Krista and I too, because whenever we like meet, you know, other friends in business, it's always just a reminder, you know, to remember why you started.
Yeah, it's a cool collection of people, I have to say, those of us who have ventured into business with our friends. And it usually, I don't know if it usually works or usually doesn't work, but it is inspiring to see it work in other women, especially
to
women
share. I mean, I think like the biggest thing for me is to like share in our accomplishments. And then also when stuff is hard, to have somebody to call.
Absolutely.
That's huge. I mean, I was Cindy as well, but I was a sole proprietor for so long that it became really heavy on my love relationship because I took all of that to my husband and it wasn't fair to him and it wasn't fair to our relationship. So to have somebody else to share in the really highs and like, oh God, are we going to make payroll week? Those, you know, like that's really important. I think that's fundamentally important to have somebody watch you go through that and go through it together and then get to the other side.
100%.
Yeah. And I think also that Kerrilynn was talking about like when things are difficult. Yeah. One of the kind of great things I've noticed is that the things that I get freaked out about are not the same things that Kerrilynn is freaked out about. Yeah. And so if I'm freaking out about something, she's often like a sounding board of, oh, I don't have to worry so much about that. Yeah. And vice versa. And so, you know, it's really reassuring to see somebody who's in it with you, not worried. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And because we are inclined to worry about different things. Yeah. You know, as we all know, worrying about something doesn't help. You can know to act and know to kind of take care of it, but worrying in and of itself doesn't do anything. So
I also think it's deepened and strengthened our partnership too, though. Like the separation that we are sad about, I think has given individual responsibility to each other in a way that we, for whatever reason, had a hard time creating before because we were like one person. So I think that it actually has been, Cindy and I haven't fully talked about this, but I think it has like empowered both of us in our roles. We also support each other completely and no, like literally almost no decision goes by that we don't run by each other. You know, we have separate titles, but it's all like coming from one collective decision, which is between the two of us. And that's been empowering, I think. And I think
a lot of like the most famous business partnerships have been like there's a creative and a business person. Yeah. And I think in our case, it's really interesting in that we're sort of both. Yeah. But in different areas. Yeah. And so like technically Kerrilynn's our CEO, I'm our chief creative. There's a lot of times that I'm stuck like on a photo shoot or doing a design and I ask Kerrilynn her opinion and she's like, art directs me out of the corner and it's amazing. And she has such a sense of style and such a strong aesthetic and has a lot of background and experience in design. And that's something that brings a lot of value to the company. I mean,
we just respect each other so much. Like that morning I woke up and was like, I have to do this with Cindy. It was like, there's no one else that I respect like Cindy in many, many ways, but also design-wise, aesthetic-wise. There really isn't like, and I, our taste is very specific. So I think it's really quite unusual, and our taste influences each other. But I think it's unusual to find somebody that you align with so closely when your design sensibility isn't on the straight and narrow all the time.
Right.
Right. So, and I think like, I just respect Cindy so much, and I hope she does as well. So I think that it all goes back to like that respect.
Yeah. And I think also, especially in matters of things like design, as your company grows, you get to a point where, sure, there's my personal taste, and then there's Cap Beauty,
the brand.
And so Kerrilynn and I have nothing but respect for each other's personal taste and style. It overlaps in a lot of places, but we both, more than anything, really know what Cap Beauty looks like and what Cap Beauty feels like. And so, and what it sounds like. So there's the language, the images, the design. That's something that stands on its own. Yeah. And so like we could personally evolve and change separately from the brand evolving and changing. And I think that's something that a good business person has to you have to reckon with that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like for Lindsay and I too, our brand Almost 30 is like a mix of our voices, but it's not specifically our voices. It's like, it's our own living, breathing voice and branding. And I think that I completely align and agree with that.
And that's so cool when those come together to create a new voice. When two voices actually come together to create a whole separate thing is, I think, where magic happens.
Yeah.
Like I can talk till I'm blue in the face. Cindy can talk till she's blue in the face, but I think we're infinitely more interesting talking together.
Oh,
and that's kind of what we get from a lot of people who we talk to. It's like, they like talking to us individually, but like there's like something kind of magical that happens there.
Yeah.
Just from familiarity, understanding, respect, mission, all that stuff just like kind of morphs.
I find it really interesting also doing like speaking engagement kind of stuff, like sitting on panels. It's something that I probably would want to like throw up and hide if I had to do that. But as Cap Beauty, it's easy. It's really interesting, I think, is like,
well, you're speaking for a larger cause. You're not speaking
terrified and shy and driven, stage fright and that kind of thing. But when you're there because you're the brand, it's a totally different experience.
Absolutely.
We feel the same way. Yeah, there's just something that happens. There is a magic there. Well, we're so excited to share this with our listeners, and they can find you guys on Instagram, Cap Beauty Daily, which is gorgeous. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
the aesthetic is insane. capbeauty.com. And you are working on a book. Is that correct?
We are. We're done with our book.
Oh,
congrats.
Yeah, it's out.
We have we each have an advanced copy. We have like 3 in existence, and but we're super proud of it. It's like,
wow, we can't wait. That's amazing.
Come from the world of styling, photography, and working on books, to see it go from these ideas to the images to the printed book and not get diluted in any way. It's like, we're so proud of it.
Well, that's a testament to you guys. That's amazing.
We talked about the beginning, but like Cindy was a stylist forever, and she styled it. My husband, who's our photographer, shot it, and it was it really came to life. And it's so beautiful. And it's half cookbook, half ritual. So it very much embodies what our philosophy is. It's called High Vibrational Beauty, recipes and rituals for radical self-care. And it's like really practical and really out there.
Yeah, it's a manual that is like mesmerizingly pretty.
Yeah.
I have to say.
And it's kind of surreal and weird, and it's great.
Definitely. We sort of go deep, but also make it accessible. And we also got to work with Victoria Granoff, who's a brilliant food stylist. She styled food for Irving Penn. I mean, she's like legendary. Wow. We let her run wild, and John do his thing. It was like a beautiful collaboration. It was awesome.
And it comes out April 3rd.
Yep.
April 3rd. Okay, good. Yay. Yeah. And you guys also have brick and mortar shops in New York and the new Fred Siegel in LA, right?
Yeah,
we do. Amazing. The store out here is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful.
It's such a beautiful. It's kind of like Cindy always calls it the Hollywood version of our
It really is. But we can't wait to visit.
Like some plastic surgery to our store, you'd end up with
just a little tighter in there.
Yeah, literally.
A little tighter.
Just made it LA.
It's very LA.
It's very Hollywood. I love it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, congratulations. Thank you for inspiring us, and keep doing what you're doing. This space is something that really has changed our life and our listeners as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys for what you're doing, for sharing. I love, now that I live in LA, I listen to podcasts all the time, obviously. And I love yours. And I just think it's so great that you're bringing so much content that's important to I'm imagining diverse audience.
Yeah.
It's great. It's like we were talking about, like however people tap in and learn is just great. And so thank you for sharing it with others. Yeah.
Thank you for making the time. And we'll hope to see you soon. Next time you're in LA, we'll find you.
We should all hang out. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right,
Thanks,
ladies.
guys.
Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.